Hey guys and gals, depth is really important in fishing. Most of the time when somebody tells me about catching some fish, the first thing I ask them is how deep did you catch them? But what is even more important than the depth? Trick question almost. Good morning guys and girls. December 3, looking at Genesis 12:1. Genesis 12:1. That is really right back in the beginning of the Bible. That's just the 12th chapter of Genesis 1. And here's what it says. It was God speaking, and the Lord said to Abram, get out of your country, from your family, from your father's house, to a land where I will show you. Get out of your country, leave your family, leave your father's house, go somewhere where I'm going to tell you where to go. Professional fishing, like other professional sports, is a young man's game. Or is it? Or is it a young man's game? Roland Martin is fishing tournaments this year at age 82. When I wrote this, he was 81. Ricky Clunn is fishing them at age 75. Gary Yamamoto, same age as me, 78, fishing tournaments. Don't ever think you're too old to accomplish great things or too old to make a difference in people's lives, or even a difference in the world for that matter. Abram, in this chapter called Abraham, God later changed his name to Abraham. Abraham was 75 years old when God told him to pack his goods, load up his wife, his servants, get all his animals, everything he had, and head out. Now, Abram was a wealthy man. He was a rich man, very, very rich. He had plenty. He didn't need any more possessions. He could have just sat back and enjoyed life. 75 years old, a beautiful wife, even though she was just a few years younger than him. She's beautiful. You know what happened to Abraham? You remember what happened? Abraham started an entire nation. By the way, Abraham had his son Isaac when he was 100 years old. So Abraham wasn't just living life, he was enjoying life. Because you know what he was still doing at 100 years old. And that was his first son, by the way. And he had more. If God has put something in your heart, if God has put something in your mind, in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, if God has put something on you that you want to do it. Just do it. No matter what age you are, do it. You can make a difference in the people's lives. You can make a difference in your lives. You can make a difference in the world. You can catch a better life, even at 75 or 80 or 85 or 90 years old. You know, when we talk about older people being successful, I can't ever help but think about old Colonel Sanders. All he'd been doing is frying chicken. And now when you think about chicken, you think about Colonel Sanders. Here's our tip for today, and it's a good one. Remember, we talked about depth being really important. What's more important than depth? Structure or habitat is more important than depth. And when you figure out what depth, or somebody tells you what depth they're catching fish, that's exactly what you want to start doing, is you want to start looking for structure at that depth. I've said often that one of the easiest ways to tell how deep to fish is when you put your boat in the water, and while your wife or your buddy is parking your boat and trailer in the parking lot and walking back down, instead of just pulling up in the dock and waiting, just pull out away from the ramp and just idle around a little bit looking at your locator. Watching your locator, have it on down vision. You don't have to put your Garmin live scope down in the front. You can have it on down vision. And idle around a little bit and look and see where you see the bait fish, the shad. If you see shad at 10 or 12 feet, say, 10 or 12 feet is a good depth to start looking for some of that habitat, structure. Start looking for structure at 12 foot deep. If you're seeing those shad up 3 or 4 foot from the surface, you may want to use John Dixon's old rule. Most of the fish are caught 10 foot deep or less, so you want to fish water that's 10 foot deep or less. If you're seeing shad down around 18 or 20 feet. Another thing that'll give you a little clues is many times the lake has a thermocline. A thermocline is that depth which water temperature changes 3 degrees. And you can actually see that thermocline on your down vision locator. So if you see that thermocline down there, again, fish just above that thermocline. It may be 15 feet, it may be 18, it may be 25. But fish right above it, don't fish down below it. So that'll give you some clues to depth. But once you figure out about the right depth, structure or habitat, structure. something for the fish to get around becomes the most important thing. Guys and girls, go out there and have a great one today. And remember, I sure do love you.